The patch is upon us. And what does it mean for Riki? Well, I'll give you my 6 foot 120 kilo lean build opinion real quick so you can jump straight into the games. Well, to start off with, Kana is nerfed. So Kana Riki, if you enjoyed that playstyle, it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't work no matter what. Its phylactery is now a 12-second cooldown, so that is completely unviable. Alright, getting into the buffs or nerfs as well for Riki. So Contract Killer and both Exterminator, both facets got, I guess, pretty big buffs in a way. The hero assist XP was increased, and also you get a bonus experience for career awards and kills. Do I think these changes are going to make Contract Killer the play for a majority of players in 99% of games? No, but I do think it's a step in the right direction, and I think I have kind of worked out with the few games I've played what could possibly work if you want to try it out, though it is very game sensey and sort of you kind of need to know what you're doing. It's a little bit high risk for, I guess, mediocre reward, but we'll get into it. Exterminator, on the other hand, has made Riki into a complete farming machine. I think with the right farm patterns and the way the creeps upgrade now in the river, that he could possibly be the fastest farmer in the game with some of the highest GPMs. I was using Exterminator with a Octarine build, and I was getting tricks down to a 3-second cooldown on certain camps or clearing waves. So he farms ridiculously fast now if you can get a greedy build or in the right game for it where you have a bit of space. But the thing is, you don't really need it because you can also play cutting style. And I will talk a bit about that in the builds. So for our abilities, Smokescreen no longer buffs our allies. That does suck. What does this mean for support Riki? It doesn't mean too much. Realistically, it is a nerf, but you can still play Riki in the Pos1 and he'll be completely fine. He's more of an assassin that tries to take out the supports anyway. Smokescreen, you do, like I put it on my allies a lot, but it's not a make or break for playing it in the Pos1 role. So do not stress too much. You can still play Riki in the support if you like that. For the talent nerf, we pretty much got the tricks of the trade cooldown replaced, which was the one you would go most of the time with a completely useless level 25 talent. -1 second cloak and dagger fade delay. Yeah, it's 2 seconds anyway, so and now it's 1 second. I don't know. Valve was not cooking when they decided upon that one. But that pretty much sums it up for the buffs and the changes for 7.38 for Riki. And let's get straight into the builds. First off, we have the Contract Killer one. And you're probably looking through this and you're being like, what the fuck? There is a Gemini Midas in there. Well, if you are going to be playing Contract Killer, I highly think this is going to be the way to play it. If you're playing like me, which I think is the only way to play this facet, by the way, is a highly aggro, snuff the map out style, then going after the defusal into a Midas or a gem is going to be the way to go. Why do I say this? And why is there a Midas there? Because I have to justify this a lot. Well, Midas is pretty much Riki's fallback plan for Contract Killer. Where you don't have an Ags, you have a Midas. And the Midas is going to allow you, if you're taking fights and maybe you're dying and trading well, that's fine. You might fall behind because you don't have anything, and the Midas is there to alleviate it and help you get to the next item. So there's a TLDR. If you think you can get greater value and you have map control, or you just have good game awareness, then go for the gem. It's either or. I don't think you should get both. Another route would be to go the defusal into a BKB, then a gem. I think that is also very, very good because then you have a safe way to TP out. But that is going to be pretty much the way to play Contract Killer. On the other hand, we have the Exterminator build. Nothing has really changed since last patches. It's pretty standard, but now I think Ags is definitely mandatory as a second item. It just provides too much value for Riki now with the new facet changes. So I think it's a real no-brainer. You should only go something else if you absolutely need it. For a support, I would say that you can go that shard before the Ags if you want to provide a bit more, I guess, support to the team fights, disable, spells on their allies and reduce their armor. But even as supports, I think you should try and get that Ags because it just provides so much value in playing the map right now. You can cut waves, drag out games, harass 2 people. It's endless right now with the facet. And then also for the Manta, pretty much only go it if you need to. If they're having a heaps of orchids or there's a lot of threat and you just need that mana, go for the mana and skip the Ags. But Ags should be your main priority anytime you think you can get away with it. So pretty much for these two, If they're slightly off-centered, like that Manta and the Shard and the Exterminator, that means go it if you need it, but try not to. Otherwise, it's just lines for each decision tree, as you can see. After the data list for Exterminator, I have been going Scardies, I've been going Octarines even before the data list, to just speed up my farm pattern and stuff like that. There's just so much you can do right now with Riki in the farming role from Pos 1 and 2, even 3. Honestly, any, if you're having a good game right now where you can really just take over a game from any position. For the starting items, I think it's still the standard. We have just the wand start, and then we have the stats start, which is the same idea. You want to trade a lane, you want to try and go for kills, and there are no two better builds than these two right now. For the skill build-ups, I am going an even spread or a distribution with a slight focus on tricks if I'm going Exterminator, and a slight focus on blink if I'm going Contract Killer. So pretty much most levels before I skill my ult will be a 1-2-2 build or a 1-1-3 if I'm super playing greedy. But I would recommend just doing an even spread. You can max out tricks first at 7 and then skill up the blink. That is completely fine. I think Riki is very, very flexible with his skill builds now, especially with the facets and, you know, being able to, you know, kill camps and stuff like that. I think there is no wrong way, though I would highly recommend getting 2 points in blink at least, because I feel like that is a very playable range and everything like that, and it doesn't grief you too hard. Whereas a level 1 blink, you will notice it. The range is very short and the cooldown is very long. So if you want to have a safe way of going to it, just have blink, 2 levels of blink before 6, and at least 1 in smoke, and then obviously you can only put 2 in tricks, so 2 in tricks, and then you can max tricks or max blink, whatever you need. So for neutral items, what do I think is the good ones? Well, tier 1, we have 3 choices. It's either going to be the Shovel, Orb of Destruction, or Mana Drought. I think all 3 of these are viable, with me leaning slightly towards an Orb of Destruction. For the neutral enchantments, I think Mystical is unironically probably the biggest buff to Riki possible, because it gives us mana regen where we struggle for mana, especially if we're going for an Ags build up, and alleviates that, and it gives us magic resistance. The problem with Riki for such a long time has been there hasn't been any really good item that actually provides as much while giving us magic resistance, and it feels like this enchantment is solving 2 of Riki's issues: his mana regen and also his vulnerability to magic damage, especially early on. So I think Mystical is the safe way to go. You can go for others like the attack speed or the Quickened. I think Quickened is a fine tier 1 enchant, with Keen-Eyed being the tier 2 enchant that increases your cast range and mana regen, is also a very viable option if you like it. But if you want to play it safe, I think the play right now, especially if you're going to play Exterminator, is just going the Mystical tier, like the Mystical enchant every time if it's available. And then for tier 5, obviously Audacious. I think that is the best one with the attack speed and the magic damage. Just provides a lot more than the plus 40 agi. For tier 2, we have Searing Signet. That's not too bad. But the rest are kind of mediocre. There's nothing that stands out of it. You can go Essence Ring if you want a little bit of health. Health is not too bad on Riki, because you can force people to overcommit very easily or survive a lot of times where you wouldn't. But yeah. Tier 3, we have the Serrated Shiv. That is very good. Ninja Gear, obviously, don't explain that. Very strong. But I think the main one for it, out of like all the tier 3 artifacts for me, is Gale Guard right now. I think Gale Guard is very strong. I think that the 400 damage barrier just really just does a lot for Riki. It's saved me in a few games I've played. So I think Gale Guard is the play right now. Because I don't feel like I'm lacking damage as much this patch compared to last. Maybe it's just a bit of luck on my end, but it feels that way so far. For tier 4, the Crippling Crossbow is not too bad. Pretty strong. It's kind of like another Diffusal. But obviously, if you want to just, you know, the be-all, end-all, it's Mindbreaker. All the other options are kind of whatever. Not really worth considering. If your game somehow gets to 60 minutes, Minotaur Horn is a mainstay. Obviously, it's just a free BKB. It's not too bad. You can use it for a lot of stuff. And then the other 2 options will be Fallen Sky and the Desolator. I think the other tier 5 artifacts just really aren't all that for Riki. So those 3 will be your main ones to go to. So that's going to wrap it up for the quick 7.38 Riki overview. If you like what you heard, or hopefully like what you see, subscribe, and if you haven't, follow me on Twitch for high level Riki gameplay. Coming soon because I don't currently have internet, but it is coming. So don't worry about it, and hopefully I'll see you then. Have a good one, lads. Peace.